I always thought his mom hated me, until I read her texts and realized she wasn't his mom at all. Let me rewind. Her name was Cheryl. At least, that's what he told me the first time she visited. She's intense, he warned me, rolling his eyes like a teenager. Don't take it personally, she's just old school. Old school, huh? Cheryl showed up to our house wearing leopard print heels and fire engine red lipstick, even though it was noon on a Tuesday, and we lived in the kind of neighborhood where sweatpants counted as formal wear. She didn't smile, didn't hug me, didn't even make eye contact when I said, "Hi, it's so nice to finally meet you." She just looked me up and down and said, I expected someone taller. I should have run. Instead, I laughed, nervously, then spent the next 3 hours making a gluten-free frittata while she asked borderline invasive questions like, "So do you plan to keep working after you give him kids?" Him, not us. Classic. He said she only came into town once a month, which seemed excessive for someone who allegedly lived 4 states away and had a bad knee. But okay. Maybe she just missed her son. Maybe she was a little overprotective. Maybe I was being territorial. That's what he called it, by the way, when I brought it up. When I said I didn't understand why Cheryl kept calling our shared bathroom her powder room. "You're being weird," he said, not even looking up from his phone. She moved my face wash to the garage. She probably thought it was expired. She left a toothbrush next to yours. She's just comfortable. Right. So comfortable she had her own drawer in our guest room. But I told myself to chill. I was that girl, right? The cool one, the modern one. I didn't want to be the psycho girlfriend who couldn't handle a man loving his mom. Still, something always felt off. Like how she never actually brought up his childhood, or asked about mine, or acted like she even knew his birthday. Once she called him my Leo man, and I had to bite my tongue so hard I tasted blood because he's a Gemini. Then there was her perfume, sweet, musky, lingering for hours after she left, once I found it on my scarf, another time on our sheets. She must have borrowed my jacket, he said with a laugh. He didn't have a jacket like that. But again, I told myself to let it go. Because I was exhausted, working, managing most of the house, keeping track of dentist appointments and dog food and toilet paper while he crashed every night after work and let his phone charge in the bathroom like it had PTSD. I kept telling myself, if this is the worst of it, I'm lucky. I didn't have proof. Just weirdness. Just vibes. Just Cheryl and her signature red nails, and the way he always shaved right before she visited. Oh, and how he never once let me ride with him when he picked her up from the airport. She's picky, he said, doesn't like anyone else's driving. One night, I got home early from work. Traffic miracle, random Tuesday. I pulled into the driveway and saw his car already there. Weird, he wasn't supposed to be back for another hour. I stepped inside. The house smelled like vanilla and bergamot. I walked toward the kitchen and I heard it, laughter, low, breathy. And then her voice. "You always know how to make me feel like your favorite daddy." My stomach dropped. I didn't make a sound. Just backed out like a cartoon character, tiptoed down the hall, and waited outside on the patio, gripping my keys so hard they left marks in my palm. When he came out 10 minutes later, freshly showered, I acted normal. Asked how his day was, he said boring. Said he stopped home to drop something off, said his mom had already left. Already. Left. That night, I checked his phone. Not unlocked it, just glanced at the screen when it lit up beside him in bed. Message from baby. The preview read, "Next time, I want to stay the whole night. You make me feel so." I didn't breathe. Just stared. Because right under the name was the photo he had saved for baby. And it was Cheryl. Or at least, someone who looked exactly like her. Same red nails. Same lips. Same hair. But suddenly, I wasn't sure of anything. That night, I didn't sleep. He did. Snored like a man with a clean conscience, one leg over the comforter, mouth open like a toddler in footy pajamas. Meanwhile, I lay there wide awake, replaying that message preview over and over. Next time, I want to stay the whole night. From baby. With Cheryl's face. I tried to tell myself it was just weird. Maybe it was an inside joke. Maybe baby was a sarcastic nickname. Maybe this was one of those dysfunctional families where everyone flirts and hugs a little too long and calls it European. Except I'm not an idiot. And I knew what I saw. So the next morning, while he was still asleep, I did the thing every woman swears she won't do until it's 4 a.m. and the universe whispers. Check his apps. I opened Instagram first. Basic reconnaissance. He hadn't posted in months, of course. Men like him never do. But I checked who he followed, and sure enough, buried between football pages and gym memes was at Churl with Love. Profile picture, red lips. Bio, not a regular woman, don't DM unless you mean it. Public account, first post, a sultry mirror pic in a robe I'd seen hanging in our laundry room. Caption, missing my Leo man. She posted it last week. I went to the next one, and the next, and the next. All same vibe, glamour shots, hotel selfies, photos of candles and champagne and one very familiar leather headboard. I got out of bed, tiptoed down the hall and pulled up Airbnb. I searched the photos. The same headboard, same exact one. A suite downtown, booked once a month. On the same days he claimed Mom was in town. I scrolled until my hands shook. And then I Googled her. Not just Cheryl. I reverse image searched her profile photo. And it hit me like a brick wall. Because her name was Cheryl. Not even close. It was Sandra Bellamy, 39, esthetician/sugar coach, once featured in a dating scandal Reddit thread called "She slept with my dad and then tried to sleep with me too." The image results were endless. Her face, his mom, was all over them, with different names. Sometimes Sandy. Sometimes B, one time Lacey Mama 77. And just like that, everything clicked into place like a jigsaw puzzle from hell. She wasn't his mother. She was his mistress. And not just any mistress. One with an entire roleplay persona. A costume. She called herself Cheryl because, are you ready? His actual mom's name was Cheryl. She died 3 years ago. Cancer. I remember the day he told me. We were at a diner. He cried into his eggs, said she was the only woman who ever got him. And now here I was, realizing he had resurrected her. In someone else's body. In my house. In our guest room. And he let me believe she hated me. When in fact, she was sleeping with him every time I went to work. I closed my laptop. Stared at the wall. The white noise of my brain went silent. I wasn't even angry yet. I was just numb. Like I had walked into someone else's nightmare. I heard him yawn in the bedroom. He walked into the kitchen, scratching his chest, smiling. Morning, babe. I nodded. Did you sleep okay? Yeah. You want coffee? Sure. He handed me a mug like nothing happened. Like I hadn't just watched our entire relationship unravel through screenshots and Google. I looked at him and thought, you're disgusting. But also, you're good. Too good. He kept his lies warm, domestic, wore them like flannel. Let me fold them with the laundry and tuck them in with dinner leftovers. I didn't ask anything that day. Didn't say I knew. Because I didn't have a plan yet. And I needed one. Because this wasn't just cheating. This was psychotic. This was character-level delusion. This was the kind of twisted that made you question what was real anymore. So I started documenting. Quietly. Every calendar entry. every hotel charge, every time he said, "Mom's flying in," every single Cheryl visit. I marked them, tracked patterns, and then I waited for the next one. Because when he said, "Mom's coming this weekend," I smiled. Perfect. Let her. They say not to look directly at a solar eclipse or a sociopath. Well, that Saturday, I looked both in the eyes and didn't blink. Because Cheryl, no, Sandra, his mom, his mistress, his live-action therapy project, was due for her monthly visit. And this time, I made damn sure I was home. I told him I took on an extra shift at work, left the house in scrubs, even sent a fake heading to clinic text once I was parked down the block, engine off, hands shaking. He fell for it. Again. That's what got me, how easy it was. 30 minutes later, his car pulled into the driveway. Passenger door opened, and there she was, leather boots, tight jeans, and a tote bag that said, "Why not?" He greeted her at the door with a hug that lingered. I waited a full hour. Then I walked in. No key rattling. No knocking. Just a slow, deliberate turn of the knob, and my heels on hardwood. He froze mid-pour, champagne flute in one hand, eyes wide like a raccoon caught in a trash fire. "Babe." I smiled, surprised my shift got canceled. Sandra turned around slowly, her red lipstick half smeared, wine glass already to her mouth like it was a defense mechanism. "Oh," she said, "Hi, Olivia, right?" Right. Like we hadn't met half a dozen times before. Like she hadn't once asked me if my uterus was retroverted like most angry women's. "I didn't know you were coming," she added. "I didn't know you were still alive," I said brightly. "I thought Cheryl passed 3 years ago." A silence. Thick, sticky, absolute. Owen laughed too quickly. "That's a different Cheryl. This is just a Cheryl Ann from my dad's side." "Right," I nodded. "The Cheryl Ann who told me her maiden name was Keller, like your mom." He blinked. Sandra took a slow sip. I sat down across from her at the table, folded my hands, and tilted my head. "Tell me, Cheryl Ann, what was your son's favorite meal growing up?" She smiled, not kindly, like a cobra pretending to be a therapist. "Oh, spaghetti and meatballs." Owen nodded relieved. "Yup, classic." I raised my eyebrows. "He's allergic to tomatoes." Her face twitched. He coughed. "I mean, he grew out of it." "Nope," I said. "He still can't eat red sauce, unless he wants to projectile vomit and faint. Remember your birthday dinner last year?" She said nothing. I leaned in. "And tell me, what's your maiden name again?" She opened her mouth. Paused. Closed it. I smiled. Then pulled out my phone and placed it gently on the table. I brought photos. Owen went pale. Sandra stood. "Don't," he said. "Oh, I will." I tapped open the folder marked, "Liar, Liar, Pants" on her. Inside, screenshots, hotel booking receipts, her Churl with Love Instagram grid, a side-by-side of her real name next to her old court record from a sugar daddy forum lawsuit. Sandra snatched her bag. "I'm done here." "Were you ever really here?" I asked. She paused in the doorway. Then turned to Owen. "She's not even that hot." Then she left. I turned to Owen. He didn't even deny it. Didn't cry. Didn't beg. Just sat down hard. "You were never supposed to find out." That broke me. Not the cheating. Not the lies. That sentence. You were never supposed to find out. Like the betrayal itself was fine, as long as I stayed stupid. I thought if I could just recreate my mom, if I could feel that again. "Oh my God," I said, standing up. "You made her cosplay your dead mother and sleep with you." He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "I think I need help." "You think?" "I'll go to therapy." I laughed so hard I choked on my own breath. Therapy doesn't fix necro roleplay and betrayal, Owen. Therapy can't resurrect your childhood or your character. He followed me down the hall, but I locked the door. Laid on the floor for 10 minutes. Then packed my bags. But I didn't leave. Not yet. Because I had a better idea. A fitting idea. One that involved revenge, wigs, and lipstick. Because if he wanted mommy, I was going to give him one. I didn't scream. I didn't throw his stuff out the window or set his car on fire, though trust me, I had the matches ready. Instead, I went to the one place no cheating man can ever defend himself, our shared Instagram. Yes, we had one. Because Owen once said it felt more intimate to have a joint page for our memories. Now I think he just didn't want me having one of my own. So I gave him what he wanted. Memories. But curated by me. First step. I booked a photo session. Not just a selfie shoot. I hired Jenna's friend, makeup artist, stylist, the works. I sent her a mood board titled MILF Core. What if Freud had a Pinterest account? I asked for big hair, bold lips, gold hoops, red nails, a cream wrap dress that hugged me like I was the final girl in a revenge flick. And most importantly, a wig. Shoulder-length, honey blonde, styled just like Sandra's, or Cheryl, or whoever the hell she thought she was when she sat in my kitchen calling my man daddy. I wanted to look like his delusion. I wanted to become it. Control it. Then burn it. The shoot took place in our living room. I posed on our velvet chair with a wine glass, posed by the fireplace in heels he bought me 2 Christmases ago, posed at the kitchen island feeding myself strawberries while looking directly into the lens like I knew who I was. And who he was not. The final shot. Me in his button-down shirt, nothing underneath, one eyebrow raised and a pair of heart-shaped sunglasses sliding down my nose. I looked like every man's fantasy and every therapist's cautionary tale. Perfect. I selected the best 8. Edited them just enough to feel cinematic. And I posted them one by one. On our account. Caption. Turns out this is exactly what he likes. Isn't that right, baby? The comment section exploded in less than 20 minutes. OMG, Olivia. Wait, is this about Cheryl? I'm screaming. This is the most unhinged, iconic thing I've ever seen. She became the goddamn ghost and haunted him with herself. Within an hour, his sister called me. She hadn't spoken to me since Christmas. She just said, "Girl, I always knew something was off with him. But this, you broke the internet." Even Jenna, who once cried because she missed a Beyoncé ticket drop, said, "This is art. You are art. I want this printed on canvas." I didn't respond to Owen's texts. There were 13 by the end of the day. Can we talk? This is cruel. You're making a joke out of something serious. I told you I had issues. You know what else is an issue? Letting your trauma cosplay as your dead mother's ghost while lying to the one person who actually loved you enough to believe it was just grief. The next morning, I logged back in. Our inbox had 73 new messages. Half were strangers. Half were women saying, "My ex used to do the same mindfuck. Not with his mom, but with power, with control, with me." One said, "Thank you. I thought I was crazy." Another, "You told my story, just with lipstick." I read every one. Then I archived the account. Not deleted, not yet. But closed. Like a book. Or a chapter. Or a person I was finally done apologizing for. Owen called me the next day from an unknown number. I didn't answer. But he left a voicemail. "Look, I'm not mad. I'm actually kind of impressed. You win, you made your point." That's the part that got me. You win. Like it was a game. Like I'd pulled off a prank. Like it hadn't been years of gaslighting, manipulation, and straight-up pathological theater in my own home. Like I wanted to play. I didn't. But I finished what he started. And that was enough. The day after the post went viral, I couldn't get out of bed. Not because I was sad. Not because I regretted it. Because I was empty. Like I had finally thrown the last punch in a fight that was never mine to begin with. And now the crowd had cleared, the lights were off, and I was just standing there with blood on my hands and no one left to hit. People kept calling me strong, brave, iconic. I was none of those things at 2:15 a.m., sobbing into a half-eaten bag of pretzels with reruns of New Girl playing in the background like white noise to cover the silence. Owen had stopped texting, but not before sending one last gem. "You made me look like a pervert." I wanted to reply, "You made yourself look like that. I just cleaned the mirror." Instead, I deleted his number. His name. His baby. All of it. But deleting him didn't erase what he'd taken. The trust. The years. The way I second-guessed everything now. Like, was the night he cried over his mother's birthday real? Was that toast he gave at our housewarming party, the one that made everyone cry, just a performance? Was the affection ever actually for me, or was I just a prop in whatever fantasy he was staging that month? I didn't know. And that messed with me more than any message from baby ever could. Because once someone rewrites your history in front of you, you start questioning whether your memories were ever yours to begin with. The comments kept pouring in. "You're my heroes. I wish I had your guts. This healed something in me." And I wanted to believe them. I really did. But heroism felt hollow when I was reheating leftover Chinese food for one, and trying not to cry because I saw a pair of his socks in the dryer. I told myself I'd wash them and donate them. Instead, I shoved them in a drawer I couldn't open without flinching. Jenna came over with wine and gossip and tried to distract me. "You're literally a meme," she said. "Did you see the TikTok girl who recreated your wig look with a Ken doll? She got 80K likes." I laughed. Sort of. Then cried. All over again. Not because of Owen. Not even because of Sandra. Because it all felt fake. The house. The timeline. The version of myself who thought I'd be married by 32 and raising a dog and a baby and doing homemade granola bars on Sundays. Instead, I was sitting in my kitchen in the same hoodie I wore in college, Googling how to emotionally detox a narcissist from your life. And you know what Google said? Focus on you. Which, frankly, is the kind of advice that sounds great until you're lying on the floor wondering how long you can go without speaking out loud before your voice gets rusty. I didn't want to focus on me. I wanted someone to hold me. To say that was insane, but I'm here. To not be him. The next morning, I woke up to a Venmo notification. From Sandra. $1. Memo for therapy. I laughed so hard I choked on my own breath. Then I blocked her. That was the moment I realized. None of them were real. Not him. Not her. Not the version of me they played with like a storyline. But I was. I was so real it hurt. And that meant I got to choose what came next. It's been 3 months. Sandra's gone. Owen's gone. The joint account, archived. The wig. Still in my closet. Not because I want to wear it again, but because sometimes I open the door and look at it the way you look at old war medals, strange proof that something surreal actually happened and that you lived through it. People still tag me. Memes. Reels. Commentaries. Podcasts debating how far is too far when exposing a cheater. Some said I was unhinged. Others called me a feminist icon. One BuzzFeed listicle ranked my Instagram drop as top 10 public betrayal moments of the year, right between the bachelor girl who exposed the producers and the woman who faked her own bachelorette. Cool. I still walk past my old bedroom and pause sometimes. Still expect to hear him brushing his teeth. Still expect to see his jacket draped over the dining chair like it belonged there. But it doesn't. It never did. And now neither do I. I moved out 2 weeks after the post. Packed everything I owned into 3 cardboard boxes, a suitcase, and 1 reusable Trader Joe's bag that said, "This too shall pasta." I found a 1-bedroom rental across town. No guest room. No visiting mother allowed. Just me, a coffee maker, and the dog that always preferred my lap anyway. The first night alone felt like ripping off a scab that hadn't fully healed. But the second night, I slept. Hard. Deep. No fake business trips. No perfume that didn't belong to me. No pretending someone's trauma justified making me the supporting character in my own story. I didn't tell my mom the full story. Just said we broke up. She asked if it was about the other woman. I said it was about a man who didn't know the difference between love and control. She nodded like she'd been waiting her whole life for me to learn that. I go to therapy now. Real therapy. Not meme-worthy, Instagram quote, aromatherapy sessions. Actual unpacking. The hard, messy, why did I let him talk to me like that for years kind. Sometimes I cry over the dumbest things. Like the sound of a microwave beep. Or the way the light hits my living room window at 5 p.m. Or the fact that I bought a new toothbrush and no one will ever accidentally use it again. People keep asking me, what would you say to Owen now if you could? Nothing. He doesn't deserve a final monologue. He got one every time I stayed. Every time I laughed off a red flag. Every time I let baby live in our calendar under family visit. But me, I deserve silence. Peace. Maybe one day, softness. And maybe, when I'm ready, someone who doesn't look for love in the shape of a lie. Until then, I'm good. Not perfect. Not healed. Not the boss bitch people DM me about being. Just good. Like grocery store on a Sunday good. Like waking up and not feeling sick good. Like I know who I am again good. Looking back now, maybe I should have said less. Or maybe I finally said enough. Subscribe to my Mia's Stories YouTube channel for raw, emotional stories and authentic insights that encourage healing, growth, and understanding. Don't forget to be part of a supportive space where stories inspire and lessons resonate. What do you think about this story? Let us know in the comments. Your opinion truly matters to us, and we're here for you.